Alright boys, today we're having a bit of a discussion. So Shaky Bay came out with a video a little while ago and was talking about some witch wizard stuff and how the balancing has been fucked for a while. And I've touched on this recently, well I say recently, but like in my most recent BDO video from when I was playing, I did talk about balancing and it was mainly about the Zerker, but I feel like that's just a deep-rooted issue buried under an immense and myriad of other problems that PA has just ignored over the years. Now, in Shaky's video, he was realistically only talking about the witch and wizard, and though they are a huge problem, I do feel like there are other classes that have similar issues but are nowhere near the level that witch and wizard is. So for the sake of the movement and because I also want change, I think it's ideal for me to actually talk about it as well and give my take and perspective. Now currently right now I main an awakening berserker, and the reason I don't go succession, and I know people yell at me all the time, you know, succession's really good, it's really good, I understand, I hear you, it's really good, I get it. But the reason I haven't gone succession is because I refuse to let BDO play me. If you haven't seen my most recent video talking about just dramatic garbage that happens in BDO, the game tends to have a very strange way of playing you, and you're never really playing the game for yourself. You're always conforming to some sort of garbage that you don't need to. This was ultimately the reason why I quit BDO a long time ago, and that's because I was dealing with so many issues and problems, and I felt like there was no way for me to play the game the way I want to. I felt like I either had to do something for a guild, or I had to grind my life away for a piece of gear, or I had to, you know, play a certain class to be good at, and that was just no way to play this game. It was fucking depressing and I hated it. Keep in mind, I've been playing this game since 2014 on like the beta and stuff when it first came out, and I've always been a ninja and a berserker main. But if you go back through my channel, you guys would notice that I played mainly Musa for a very long time, and the reason I did that was because the grind speed on the Musa was so much more effective than the berserker or ninja. The Musa just had better movement, it had better clear speed, and it was just overall a better class, grind wise anyway. But even for PvP, it was still really solid. There was no really downsides to playing the Musa, so I said fuck it. The berserker's kind of in a weird state and he has a lot of issues, and succession wasn't out on console, and same for ninja. Even though ninja has actually been pretty good for a while, it's just, you know, movement and getting down the thumbs for playing ninja. But either which way, the Musa was brain dead easy, and I could just body people left and right with that character. But this brings me back to my main point, where the game forces you to play something that you don't necessarily care to play. Eventually, I did grow to love the Musa, but it was more of a situation akin to Stockholm Syndrome. It was just, this is all I had and the best that I could get, so here we are. I liked the character, I played it for so long that eventually I just learned to love it. That's just what it was. Now the reason I told you all this garbage was because to get the point across that this game does not allow you to play how you want. These are examples of how it does that, and when it comes to witch and wizard, these are the staple recruitment standards for top guilds. On console currently, most people want absolutely nothing else other than a caster, and the reason being is because they are so dominant in node wars, sieges, whatever. They are just absolutely destructive and they do so much damage. They have so many different abilities that just prevent them from dying. They are so broken, and it's always been this way for the longest time since release date. Casters have always been super broken and they've never been really addressed. They've even been buffed before, and I just have no words for how that decision even came about. Now, the one thing that I do think is a very important topic is the guild recruitment situation. I'm sure all of you know that the meta currently is caster. Whoever has the most casters win. It's like that on PC, and it's just like that on console. Now, this is a really dumb factor, just for the simple fact that you can't get into a good guild unless you are playing one of the meta classes, or your AP is so high that you are more valuable than the class meta. That's just the genuine truth. I'm a 265 Zerker. If I tried to apply for one of the top guilds or something, I'm sure there would either have to be a PvP trial where I had to prove my worth, and majority of the time they're probably going to pair me up with someone with more AP than me, so the odds are kind of stacked against my just Zerker, so I wouldn't even bother. Not that I care to be a part of a top guild, but it's the fact that if I did, I would either have to conform to the meta, or I would have to be beyond just the AP brackets to make sense to overlook the meta. And that is absolutely no fucking fun whatsoever. Who wants to sit there and play a class because it's the only physical way to get into a guild or a community that you may want to be a part of? What is the purpose of having all these other classes when every single guild that is node warring and sieging is going to demand for one class and one class only? It just doesn't make sense at all. As of currently, the console version is giving out Capoches for the Sage, I believe. I think it's for the Sage, but either which way, they lowered the cap for the Capoche gears. So if you hit level 61, you get everything up to a Capoche necklace, which all translates to tri-gear, including Tri-Cressy, Tri-Ogre, Tri-Bassy, Tri-Tungrad. They are legit the same exact stats, which means that you are giving an unbalanced class a bunch of gear. And keep in mind, at barely 200 AP, I'm 296 DP and 265 AP. A undergeared wizard or witch can legitimately spawn in front of me and kill me in less than 5 seconds. And I have been playing this game for X amount of years and grinded for so much of my crap, and it just doesn't matter. I just get spat on because this game refuses to address an issue that has been there for almost a decade now. I remember when they first introduced some buffs to the striker or something, and I went into the BDO arena, and I was actually watching Guido at the time, and he's one of the better Zerkers on console, if not the best Zerker on console. And he literally got destroyed in one combo by a striker with only 180 AP. That is beyond wrong. What was the point of me grinding my life away for all this gear for 265 at the time when I got it, right? I recently hit 265, but 261 is when I quit. And to get to 261, I grinded 4 to 5 months of my life for that gear. Some of you are like, why the fuck did it take you so long? It's because I fucking bought everything. I don't enhance for profit. I don't give a fuck about enhancing at all. It's a waste of time, and I don't give a fuck. And you can argue the point that it's a waste of time to grind anyway, and you're probably right. I have no argument for that either. But either which way, I made my bed and I lay in it. But my point stands is that I worked my ass off for the gear that I have, and only for it to not actually matter at late game. And I say late game carefully because it doesn't even matter early game either. A person with barely 200 AP can blow my ass up, and it's like, why the fuck did I even bother? So not only do we have a lot of unbalanced nonsense within BDO, they are also handing these classes and characters just gear that allow them to further progress into a state where they can just destroy players like me that have dedicated their almost entirety of their BDO career to just grinding. The best way to balance a game is to have a counter to a counter to a counter. If you guys have seen Game Maker's Toolkit, I'll put a link in the description to how games get balanced, but I think he makes a very, very good point for how games get balanced, and having a counter for everything makes the most sense due to the fact that no one thing is greater than the other, and even if they are, it's only by a certain margin that can get hashed out later on. But as of currently, according to Shaky Bay, and he's probably right actually, Witch and Wizard legitimately have barely any counters, if none at all. Meanwhile, my Zerker is sitting here struggling at like 5 FPS because old gen consoles suck mad dick, and I can't grab anybody to save my life because, well, they just fall out of it. And on top of that, Awakening Berserker is still outdated as fuck. The animations are way too long, the movement's a little janky, the iframe they gave to Shake Off was decent, I guess, but it doesn't remedy the myriad of other issues. Not to mention the movement is still fucked as well. It's not nearly as progressive as Succession, which is why everyone tells me, go Succession, and to you I say, I will not. I play BDO because I want to be a big fucking ape with a motherfucking big iron on my right hand and beat someone's nuts in with a hand cannon, okay? I don't care about the dual axes. They're cool, I get it. Beyblade all day is dope, all right? I'm not saying Succession is whack or anything like that, but for me, my money is on the big stendo on my right arm, all right? I'm just saying, you can't sit here and have a giant big fucker that doesn't have any kind of damage whatsoever when he has a big iron on his arm. Like, you can't sit here and tell me this is normal, but yet you can leave a witch or wizard untouched for damn near about half a decade and then just honestly nerf other classes over and over and over again, and then once again say that this is a balanced game. That's ridiculous. The last point I want to make is the one that Shaky said, where everyone has grown complacent with this whole idea that you can't complain, or if you do, it's gonna fall on deaf ears. And it's like, the reason that happens is because nobody fucking complains and nobody does anything about it. Straight up, this game is dog shit. Real talk, it is dog shit. It ruins people's lives. It legitimately turns people into addicts on a regular basis. I can't tell you how many people I know that are addicted to this game, and they complain about it all the time, but yet they still play it every single fucking day, and that's including me. But we earned that right to talk that shit. We earned all the rights to actually say that this game is dog shit. You know why? Because we put in more than 10,000 hours in this motherfucking game, only for it to keep fucking us over and over and over, and PA sits there, lines their pockets from everyone else, and then bop it a boopy, we sit here and are stuck with an unbalanced garbage can that we continuously play. And I'm not just saying this because Witch and Wizard is like just, oh, I want them in the dirt. I could give a fuck less about the Witch and Wizard. I want a balanced game where everything is viable and makes sense. There can be counters and there can be bad matchups. That is normal. That is normal shit. What's not normal is when the entirety of the game revolves around one singular class. That's where there's a big issue. Nobody is out here asking to completely put witches and wizards in the dirt. Nobody is saying that at all. What we're saying is that there needs to be viability in other classes to where they actually have a place in node wars and sieges and just open world PvP in general. I'm not really sure what else to say other than just at the end of the day, it is what it is. We can complain, we can talk about it, but I feel like without actual voicing your opinions and just giving ideas out there and explaining the issues with a common collective argument, or at least rebuttal, there's not really much to talk about. It's just Witch and Wizard is really annoying, and I don't want them gone. I don't want them dead in the water. I don't want them gutted. I want them in a state where the other classes can live and thrive as well. The amount of witches and wizards I see on a regular basis is like a 9-to-1 ratio. It's fucking awful. I've been playing console for years now, and I have seen a grand total of 3 Valkyries in my entire life. And where I saw them was in the battle arena. I've never seen a Valkyrie grinding. I've never seen a tamer. I've never seen a tamer. That may be an exaggeration, to be honest. I feel like I've seen a couple tamers, but I honestly can't note any tamers. Like, I know a lot of people in BDO. I know majority of the people that are in top guilds, the top players. I know most of them on the console version, and not a single one of them is a tamer or a Valkyrie. I know a lot of Zerkers, and that's because I'm in the console Zerker Discord, and I think the Zerker has a very dedicated fan base. So despite the fact that he's not exactly a top class or even remotely close to a top class, I think he's just well loved enough to where people will overlook that and still play him as long as they have thumbs. However, classes like the fucking Valkyrie and Tamer, I never see those classes under any circumstances, and that's a problem. I'm obviously not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying that for the amount of witch and wizards that I see compared to those classes, there's a serious imbalance, and I wouldn't even mind playing a Valkyrie. I think she's cool as fuck. She carries a giant big motherfucking shield with a lance. I mean, that's cool as fuck, and I really have no complaints about this class at all, other than the fact that in comparison to a lot of other things, it doesn't really hold up. But I think that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys have at least some kind of food for thought, but I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.